Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Melvin Gatewood on the line, and he's president and founder over at Operation Continue Service. Melvin, welcome to the show.
Man, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, so a lot to talk about here today, so I definitely want to get into your company. So Operation Continue Service and really how you came up with this. I see the title president and founder. I guess let's just start with, I see the term founder. Were you always an entrepreneur before this? Where did this start from? Give me the genesis of kind of how this idea came to be.
Man, really just started as a passion project. Wanted to remember service members that I had lost when I was over in Iraq that died in action. And then it ended up just forming into more just other veterans that we wanted to recognize. Also, like our motto, remembering those who have fallen while motivating those that still stand. So even those that we haven't lost, those that still had that constant battle that they brought home with them, that's still struggling with mental health issues, substance abuse. So we go out and try to start veteran social gathering to try to break up that isolation and loneliness.
And the name of it, Operation Continue Service, how'd you come up with that? I'm curious.
Man, so after I got injured in a Humvee explosion, April 19, 2005, the military so many words that said, man, you damaged goods, take everything else up with the VA. So I was like, man, okay, I still wanted to serve. I didn't think I was going to have a short-lived career like this. So Operation Continue Service, I still wanted to continue to serve even after I took off my uniform. And there was other veterans that wanted to do the same thing. So we get those individuals who want to volunteer and want to continue to serve other veterans in their community and come out and do that with our organization.
Take that a step further for me. So tell me a little bit more about the services and really just how you're helping struggling veterans with mental health issues and other things.
So when we talk about remembering those who have fallen, this past weekend we were down in Aliceville, Alabama, where they did a sign dedication for Sergeant First Class Tommy Little. He was actually in the Humvee explosion with me April 19th.
Wow.
We advocated for him and also another veteran 30 miles away from there in Macon, Mississippi, starting doing walks, memorial walks with their pictures, letting people know these are the individuals from this town who made the ultimate sacrifice, because people will think about something once it happened, but then something else tragic, they'll forget who that was that passed and everything like that. So we continue to come every year to do memorial marches to keep their names on the forefront. And eventually we got individuals down there to actually make permanent signs with their names. Also, we do veteran social gatherings. Those veteran social gatherings can be anything from walks in the parks to coffee socials to, like, we have a monthly Costco meetup where we have hot dogs and soft drinks, and we also have resources for veterans. I was employed with the Department of Veteran Affairs, and I realized that every veteran is not going to come to the front door of the VA and say, help me. So we have to go out there where they are and find them and meet them where they are with the resources.
So every entrepreneur, and whether it's for-profit, non-profit, like that doesn't matter on the type of setup. Like there's always a learning when it comes to being an entrepreneur and trying to get an idea out there, even a service when you're trying to help people. And I'm curious, I think you just mentioned one, and I'm curious, are there others? So for example, you figured out that, hey, we got to go to where they're at. They're not necessarily all going to walk through the front door. Any other learnings that you care to share that since you've been on this journey trying to help that you've kind of learned along the way?
Yes, really from the grassroots phase of it, really like a lot of our income was coming from people donating, but sales of T-shirts, trying to sell T-shirts, and then try to explain to people, okay, well, yeah, we might ask them $25 to $30 for the T-shirt, but it's not just a T-shirt. It's going back into our organization, and it's going to help us to continue to reach veterans in Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee. As for finding grant writers, that has been a struggle. So that's why I had to find another way to try to bring in more income so we can help individuals.
Yeah. And so go a little bit further on this. What I like about this story, too, is it just shows when, especially when you're starting something grassroots, and how you figure it out, right? Like it goes for T-shirts, and it's like grants, and it's like, how do we do this? It's kind of like, how do you provide more value to the audience and the target you're going for? So what are you exploring right now? And like, how do people get involved? I'm curious.
So I just did a campaign we call Rucking for a Van, where I rucked all around the country, and I'm still going to do that. That was my goal, to hit all states. But rucking is just a military term for carrying a heavy backpack from point A to point B. So I would go to towns, put on my backpack, and I have my flag, and then I'm walking down main streets where people can, high traffic areas, and they're going to stop and ask me, hey, what are you doing? And then that's when I tell them that this weighted backpack is actually symbolizes the hardships that veterans go through both in the military and after the military. This is a symbolic walk. We're doing this to raise awareness of veteran suicide and mental health issue, and also looking for this van, this outreach van that we're going to use to go and visit veterans and do pop-up coffee socials.
So I'm curious, like, how is this typically received? And I'll tell you why I asked this question. One of the things I've done this since I was like 16, whenever I wear suits, I've always kind of been in these professional like situations. And when my previous profession, I was in finance, so I was always kind of like wearing a suit or a suit jacket. So I always had a flag on. I don't know if I got that from my dad or where. I can't even remember. I've done it for so long. And people literally walk up to me and say, thank you for wearing the flag, or thank you, or what does that mean? I'm curious. Now, on your end, obviously, this is much bigger, and you did serve. I've never served in the military. My dad did, and my grandfather, and that kind of stuff. But, like, how are you received as you're walking through these towns or as you're educating people?
Man, I've been received in all types of ways. I've been received in ways where people would think that I'm a homeless veteran, and they come and want to give me money, and then I have to tell them, no, this is part of my nonprofit. If you want to, I told her this, and then she said, well, still, here, go and get you some coffee. I said, man, that's $100. How much of coffee you want me to give me? So I'm like, and then she's like, okay, it's a donation. It's a donation. Okay, I said, well, I got my receipt book in the bag. Would you like a receipt? Oh, yeah. No. So, so I want people to know, okay, this is not no kind of hustle or anything like that.
Right.
And then I'll just be quite honest with you. I don't say this often, but I'm saying it now. But sometimes I have people that may look like me, the same hue as me, to say, okay, what you doing carrying that flag? Then I have people that doesn't look like me and say, hey, what are you doing carrying my flag? So, you know what I'm saying? So then I had one gentleman that hollered out at me one time, and they like, who are you? What are you doing? And I told him I'm Sergeant Melvin Gatewood, retired. You can Google my name, you'll see. And what are you doing carrying this flag? I bled for this flag. Hey, I had a right to carry this flag. So, and I keep it pushing. And then some people might think that it's some type of political backing behind it or something like that. No, this is just me being able to express myself in this free country, and anyone should be able to go anywhere and walk down the street with a flag or whatever and not be bothered. And, but even though it is a larger mission behind it, but a lot of times it's like they seeing a unicorn when I come down the street. And also just for protection, a lot of times I check in with the local law enforcement, show them my credentials and let them know who I am, because they're going to get a call and say, hey, there's a guy walking down the street with the flag anyway. So, Which to me, that's, I'll say, disturbing. The fact that it's so weird for people to see that. And I'm not even getting into the point of like why that is. But on the other side of things, if you were wearing a soccer jersey with a big flag on it, nobody thinks twice. It's FIFA right now, right? Like, and I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, and I think it's so interesting that I wear a flag on my lapel and the type of response I get. And every city, every state I'm in, I travel quite a bit, I get this response where some people are like really like thankful. Others are like what you said, like, well, what does that mean or whatever, like kind of like standoffish. And you're like, what do you mean? I'm American. It's an American flag. What do you mean? What does that mean? Like, do I need to spell that out to you? Yeah.
and one of the things I always talk about, I'm like, man, I'm happy that I'm old enough to where I got to say the Pledge of Allegiance in school.
Yeah.
And the flag. I'm happy that I'm old enough to do that. And I feel bad for kids that don't get to do that now. Like, it doesn't make sense.
I agree. And then, for the most part, it's all love. I get people blowing their horn.
For sure.
USA, and things of that nature. But it is those times that I have had not necessarily negative, but just things that kind of caught me off guard.
Yeah, that you wouldn't expect. That's what it catches me as too, and I agree with you completely. Like 90%, whatever, probably higher is just like happy, like and like and they want to see it, and they see that you smile and people are happy. Like that's I think that's the majority. But I get thrown by some of the others. Like, what do you mean? I'm confused. It's a flag. It's my flag. What? So tell me, Melvin, you got a big mission out there, man, and you're an entrepreneur. You're trying to help a lot of people. Like, talk to me about. Let's dream for a moment. What's the vision for Operation Continue Service going forward?
Man, it would be to have 2 other vans in the other 2 states that we have, and it would be have more volunteers and actually just being able just to help more veterans, especially like homebound veterans that can't leave their home. We can go by their house, have a cup of coffee with them, and just chat with them, and just really touch these rural areas, these underserved areas where they don't see a lot of or don't receive a lot of help. And my whole thing is not coming into the community and tell them what they need to do, but more so just show them a blueprint of how they can get more involved with their veterans and they can help them so we can kind of have a decline with the suicide rates that we're seeing.
It's great. Melvin, this is wonderful having you on the show today. This is a topic that I don't get to and I don't feel like it's in media enough, so I'm happy that you're doing what you're doing, boots on the ground literally, but also, coming on shows like this and talking about your mission and really what you're doing. So that being said, if somebody wants to get involved in people, whether it's volunteers, donations, otherwise, how do people get involved with Operation Continue Service? How do they connect with you and your team?
Well, we're out there on social media, on Facebook and on Instagram, and you can look us up at www.operationcontinueservice.com, and my website is www.melvingatewood.org, and you can just hit me up that way through a direct link.
Wonderful. For everybody listening, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes so you can just click on the links and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. You heard me correct. Each and every day we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way on your journey as well. So hit that subscribe or follow. And Melvin, thanks for coming on.
Thanks a lot.